Divide and conquer. This strategy was used by empires and military leaders who understood that a united enemy is far harder to defeat. Instead of fighting all opponents at once, they worked to split alliances, create distrust, or isolate groups from one another. The Gallic Wars showed this clearly when Julius Caesar exploited rivalries between Gallic tribes to prevent them from forming a stronger united resistance. By weakening cooperation between enemies, smaller forces could often control much larger territories. Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg was developed and heavily used by Germany during the early years of the Second World War. Rather than relying on slow advances, this strategy focused on overwhelming speed and coordination. Tanks, aircraft, artillery, and infantry moved together rapidly to break through weak points before defenders could organize themselves. During the invasion of Poland, Blitzkrieg allowed German forces to advance with shocking speed, demonstrating how mobility and surprise could collapse traditional defenses in a short time. Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth involves destroying resources that could help an advancing enemy survive. Retreating armies burn crops, destroy railways, remove supplies, and leave behind as little as possible. During the French invasion of Russia, Russian forces abandoned cities and destroyed food supplies as they retreated deeper into the country. Napoleon Bonaparte entered Russia with a massive army, but hunger, cold, and lack of resources slowly destroyed it more effectively than direct battle alone. Guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is used when smaller forces cannot defeat larger armies in open battle. Fighters rely on ambushes, quick attacks, and mobility while avoiding direct confrontation. During the Vietnam War, the Viet Cong used guerrilla tactics against technologically stronger opponents. Dense jungles, hidden tunnel systems, and local knowledge allowed smaller groups to constantly pressure enemy forces while remaining difficult to eliminate completely. Encirclement. Encirclement traps enemy forces by surrounding them and cutting off escape or supply routes. One of the most famous examples happened during the Battle of Cannae when Hannibal surrounded a much larger Roman army from multiple sides. The trapped soldiers lost the ability to maneuver or retreat, turning the battle into one of history's most devastating defeats. Centuries later, military academies still study this strategy because of how effectively positioning can destroy stronger forces. Attrition. Attrition focuses on slowly exhausting the enemy through continuous losses over time. Instead of aiming for one decisive battle, the strategy depends on draining manpower, supplies, and morale until the opponent can no longer continue fighting. During the Battle of Verdun, both sides suffered enormous casualties in a prolonged struggle where endurance became more important than rapid victory. Attrition often leads to brutal and lengthy wars because success depends on outlasting the opponent rather than defeating them quickly. Amphibious assault. Amphibious assaults combine naval and ground operations to launch attacks from the sea onto defended shores. One of the most well-known examples occurred during the Normandy landings in the Second World War. Allied forces crossed the English Channel and landed on heavily defended beaches in France. The operation required careful coordination between ships, aircraft, and infantry. Success opened the path for the liberation of Western Europe and showed how difficult but decisive amphibious warfare could be. Shock and awe. Shock and awe is a modern strategy focused on overwhelming the enemy psychologically through rapid and massive displays of force. The goal is not only physical destruction but also mental collapse. During the Iraq War, coalition forces launched intense air strikes and rapid military advances designed to cripple command structures and demoralize defenders quickly. Trench warfare. Trench warfare became strongly associated with the World War I when both sides dug extensive defensive trench systems across Europe. Machine guns, artillery, and barbed wire made direct attacks extremely deadly, forcing armies into long defensive stalemates. Soldiers often lived for months inside muddy trenches under constant threat of shelling and disease. The strategy showed how advances in defensive technology could dramatically slow the movement of war. Naval blockade. Naval blockades aim to weaken an enemy by stopping supplies, trade, and reinforcements from reaching them by sea. During the World War I, the British naval blockade against Germany restricted access to food and raw materials. Over time, shortages damaged the economy and lowered civilian morale. A blockade may not involve constant direct fighting, but its long-term pressure can slowly weaken an entire nation from within.